Alright guys, Mixing Wednesdays again, it's me Paul Third, and guess what, we're back again, and guess what we're speaking about? It's Acustica Audio. So I decided to do the Acustica plugin that I've always wanted to do, which is Jade. Now Jade is an emulation of, if I get this right, so again I know that they're not completely clear, but again I've seen it on other sites and stuff like that, so I'm pretty sure it's a MAAG, it is a Focusrite red EQ, and I'm pretty sure, I think it's a Clariphonic. So what I've done with this is I have done it a little bit differently. So again, I don't really have other plugins to kind of shoot them out against. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if Acustica Jade is better than my plugin chain. So I'm going to keep it consistent. So I'm going to give it a fair shootout. So again, the Acustica Jade, so that gives you 3 different types of EQ. It gives you a compressor, a limiter, and I think it's four or five different preamp modes. So again, there's a lot of different colour you could add in: snare, guitar, bass and vocals, to see in those 5 things, is there anything that the Acustica does better than what I already use. So again, what I normally already use. So what I'll do now is skip through all the gumph and let's go straight to the video. We'll start off with the kick. This is how I would have mixed it if I was, this is all I had. This is how I would have mixed it. So you've got kind of 3 different EQ options. One is I'm pretty sure it's a MAAG, other one's a Focusrite red, and is it a Clariphonic? Or is it I think it might be a Clariphonic EQ, I think. And then the compressor, is it something like a Vulture Culture or something like that? Again, I'm kind of guessing. I'm trying to think from what I've seen online, because again, Acustica don't really like to tell you what they're emulating. So for the kick, again, you go through options. So again, again, it's only giving you off sub and 40, which is no good for me. So again, I used this one because I wanted to add in a bit of 100 Hz, but again, it's limited in terms of its options. So again, you've got a shelf, or again, you can use the 100 Hz boost there, and then C, that's got again 360, 100, and again, but look, it's limited at the bottom. So the annoying thing is when you select A, B or C, it's not, you don't have 4 EQ options. It's basically 2 EQ options that you could kind of blend together. It would be nice if you would have had A, B and C for all the bands. So again, for the low mids and the high mids and stuff, you could actually pick from the 3, but so it's a little bit limiting there. And you've got a preamp section. You've got A, B, C, 2 C's and a D. You've got high pass, low pass. So I've got the compressor going as well. Again, I've got quite kind of like a slowish attack, fastest release. Sean Connery. So, and then again, you could choose to add a limiter in as well. And again, you've got the options of your routing. So you can see, again, I normally have it. So again, dynamics, EQ. So again, compressor going into EQ and then a limiter afterwards. So that's basically what this is. And again, the preamps are kind of corresponding to the EQs as well. I'll play it with the preamp off. So again, this was the one I liked the best. So again, we'll try it with it off. Oh. And this is with it on. So definitely adding something there. Again, when you're using and filtering through these kind of preamps, you've just got to remember that some of them might be very subtle, some of them might be quite drastic, and they've all got certain sims. So for me, this is what I use for the Jade, and this is basically a quick summary of the Jade: compressor, EQ, limiter, preamps. And again, 3 different EQ modes. Right, so that was kick. So I'll show you what I was doing to snare, because I don't want where I'm sitting around all day. So again, I'll put that in. So this is what I've got on the snare, so it's kick and snare. You get a really nice analog hit. So what have I got in the bass? So using C, again, using that for about 60, adding a bit of 800,
and then I've got about a 1.4K, and then again 4.5K for again that DI high end. I've got the B preamp in, and have I got the limiter in? Yes, I've got the limiter in as well. So can I play that? Now, one thing I will give their due with this plugin, the low end isn't very good on it, but the highs are always kind of silky smooth with Acustica stuff. But see the comp and the limiter, the compressor and the limiter in this are fantastic. I think they really, really do a good job. The limiter especially, I mean, I used it on vocals and the bass, and I just kind of feel that it's got this nice way of keeping the dynamics. Again, you can hit it quite hard. I mean, I'm hitting that 5 dB gain reduction there, and it's just smoothing out the bass, but I've still got that kind of really nice punchy dynamics in there. I like kind of the low end that the compressor adds, and I just think the two of them are very, very, very good. Again, let's kind of try the preamp mode, see the kind of difference. Again, they're all quite subtle-ish, but this was the one I thought was the best, was B. I kind of think you kind of keep that low end, and it's got still that little bit of grill in it. So that's the bass. So then we've got the guitars. What I normally find is, I don't know why, but I'm always using this B. I think it's probably because I'm using the B EQs that this B preamp sounds the best. You'll normally find I'm using the B EQ. I don't know which one that is. I think that might be I think it's actually the Focusrite. I don't know if there's any other Focusrite red EQs on the market, so again, I might check those out because I do quite like the EQ. That's it on 5.5K. So I normally have them on 8K. I think when I recorded this, I had it on 8K. So that's the difference between 5K and 8K. That was guitar. So as you can see, I'm using the MAAG. So again, I've got the 40K. I've got some 2.5 in, 270, and then I've got cut in about 550, and I'm using the compressor and the limiter. This sounded really good, quite good to me. And again, preamp 8. But again, what you'll notice is the preamps normally sound good dependent on what EQ you're using. So this one I probably chose because I really liked the top end and the mid range from the MAAG. Either way, it did sound really good. So I'll play the vocal for you. I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. And again, it's got this really nice top end, and it really brings the vocal alive. So I'll be a little bit more quicker with this, okay? So this is how I would predominantly like do a normal mix, and I've tried to make it as consistent as possible. So again, this is not my full chain, but I'm doing it like for like. So again, certain things that are missing, but I want to make it fair. So what would I use on a kick? So again, I've got the Lindell in here. So again, I've got my high pass and low pass, my compressor, and then I've got that going into the Brainworx SSL. So again, I've got more compression if I want. I've got the THD. I've got some volume gain, so more saturation. I've got gates. I've got everything that I could need. So I'm pretty sure that is a pretty fair comparison. So what we'll do is we'll compare each of them together, just so you can kind of hear the difference. So let's do this. So this is my chain. Very, very similar. Very similar. I'd be happy with both. I think that my one slightly just beats it. I think that again, because it's the Lindell. The Lindell's just got this. Again, check the other video I did out with the Acustica Gold with the Neve shootouts. Again, this Lindell, this 1080 channel. It's so crazy. I love the attack that it gives the lows and then this mids. It's got this kind of really punchy low mid quality to it. So again, them two are very, very, very similar. So in terms of a shootout, one plugin versus two plugins, £200. Again, you can get these in the sale and stuff like that, and you've got a plug-in bundle, then keep your plug-in bundle. So again, but everything's subjective. So let's see, let's try out the snare. Again, you could hear a massive difference in there. It's just really dark, and again, for something that's got like the Clariphonic and the MAAG in it, it just kind of just lacks this this high end. And again, I'm giving them the exact same. I'm using the Focusrite, and then I've got again a 10k shelf. I normally just add in 10ks. I've got a 10k shelf, I've got 5k, and again I'm giving them quite. Again, look at that 5k boost. That's quite a big boost. And again, I'm taking out some lows, and again I'm adding in some 200 for some body as well. So again, I can't really mix this anymore. Again, look at that. I'm adding quite a lot of 5k, and again 10k. Again, I'll boost them to try and see if I can get it closer to my chain. Right, okay, so that's giving that a little bit more high end. So let's compare with my snare. So you can get it higher, but I just don't like it. It's a bit too fizzy. So try and get this kind of high end to a level that I like it. Now again, you hear that 5k. Again, that 5k is really, really sensitive. And what I find with these is it really does go to a thing where it's like it's either it's there, and boom, it's like something changes in the algorithm, and it just becomes like that 5K just becomes too much. Again, the 10K shelf becomes too much. I'd say that's probably the best that I could get it. So like let's compare that. And again, it's just try having to EQ with it crashing all the time. It's an absolute nightmare. So let's compare it now a little bit brighter. Yeah, so I'm getting myself muddled up now because again the outputs are different. So again, you can make this thing brighter, but it is quite sensitive. But again, you could do the exact same with the Lindell. What do I think? I think that I do like the fact that I could put in the Lindell and again to taste. I mean, look at that. I mean, so look at that, right? Look at that high shelf, right? That high shelf, exact same 10K high shelf. Again, I'm only adding 3 dB, and then you go into the Jade, and look at that. Look at that 10K. Look how much I've got to add to that to get that kind of same amount of like high end sizzle that I was able to get from the Lindell. Again, the differences that's why it's so sensitive, because it's such a big boost. You should be able just to add in little amounts like the Lindell and just be able to stick that in. What else did I have on this? For the compressor, I used distressor because I do like, again, and it's just doing a dB. It's just, again, it's not much. Just adds a little bit more like analog attack and tat 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 that I like. But again, look, 2 different plugin brands. I've got the console emulation, I've got the trimmer on it that I'm not even using, I've got the distressor, and I've got a whole plugin console channeling. So again, it's like I've got more options to me instead of this one option that's either really severe or not severe enough. Right, okay, so let's compare now with the bass, which has the most processing on it on my chain. But again, I'm trying to utilise everything that I utilised in the Jade. So again, I've got the console emulations in, which would be my preamp. Again, I'm driving the preamp with the U73. I've got a set 10 Neve setting on the console. I've got a DBX 160 as my compressor. I've got the BX console 9000J. I've got the SSL in. And then I've got an added bit of API as well. So again, what I'm adding in here, I really like the 1.5 mid boost on that. I love it on an API. It adds a lot of growl. Then I've got a little bit of low end sub going on at 50 here, just a little bit, start a little bit more lows. And then for my leveler, I'm using the star level, and again I've just got about 10 dB gain reduction. And again, look at that, I've got it quite dry in the mix. Right, so let's do a comparison between these two and see how we got on. So both of them are quite similar. I think I got a little bit better low end on it with the API just at 50, and I kind of feel that What I will say is that the Acustica bass is better dynamically, I think. I think as an all-round sound, I think I've got more low end in the bass, and I think it sits a little bit better in the mix in terms of low end weight. But I do like the Acustica for its dynamics. It really punches through really well, and I think that again it's that compressor that they use, and again the limiter's really musical as well. So in the mix, when you hear all that together, you're definitely going to hear this really nice kind of bouncing of the bass. So the sound wise are quite similar, but I do quite like the dynamics of this. There's benefits to both of them. Now, what did I have on my guitars? So let me see. I think it was a 9000J again. Right, okay, so I've got for my compressor, I'm using the Lindell 254E. So that's my compressor. And then VMR, what have I got going on here? Again, I've just got the SSL-G console emulation in. And then I've got the 9000J. Again, look at that, cranking 8K, maxing that out, 5K, 2.5K, and then I'm taking out some low rumble, 350. And again, if I'm using the compressor, no, I've got the mix down, so I'm just using the Neve compressor. So let's hear the difference with these two. This is a massive difference, by the way. It's a very, very, very big difference on this. And this is the Acustica. So as you can hear, there's a massive difference there. There's the Acustica does not have anywhere near the bounce that the 9000J does. There's a massive difference. It sounds good, the Jade, but this thing's out of this world for guitars. It does a half decent job. I just kind of feel that it's just lacking. The last one is the vocals. Let's hear the difference with this. Again, bypass. And again, do you see how, again, the laptop's struggling? And it's this. The Jade just absolutely mutilates CPU, and it's just an absolute nightmare. So, as I said earlier, the vocal is definitely the one that takes the most CPU power. What we'll do is we'll play the Acustica first. Typical. I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I can be a superhero, deflecting all the things that they may say to you. I can be your undercover lover. So again, look at that, right? I've just bypassed all my plugins. And it's just like this one instance. It's just, that's not right. It's just not right. Right, so that there is the Acustica, and this is my version. This is my chain. I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I can be a superhero. So they are actually very quite similar. And what I did find interesting was that on this, I'm utilising the MAAG, and I've also done this on my chain. So again, you've got the MAAG EQ4, and again, I've got the 40K airband, and I'm boosting that by 2.5. On this one, what did it do? I boosted it a lot more than 2.5. Again, you've got to boost the highs on this. I don't know why, you've got to really crank the highs to get something on this. I've got Butch big vocals. He always uses, I think that's 220, or I think it's 250. I think that's 3K, and that's 12K, I think. This, honestly, guys, if you don't have this, try it out. It's the best vocal plugin I've ever had. And then I've got, again, still a lot of processing. I love the RC tube for vocals, just warms everything up. U73 is my preamp. and then I've got the U73 working as like an 1176, which I always do, and then I've got the Arturia as my kind of, a lot of people do the 1176 LE2A trick, and I just prefer to do this. This is what I like. What I do find interesting is that the sims are very, very similar. So what I will give Acustica their props is that in terms of both vocals, with them being so similar, it is a lot easier just to load one plugin, and then instead of having to load 4 instances and muck about with 4 different plugins, that's quite a good thing. So I do like that, but it just crashes. So if it didn't have the CPU power, I would probably ditch this and go with that. I do think slightly, I think my chain has a little bit more mid-focus presence in it, and it kind of has got a little bit more girth to it. So that's them all together. That's them bypassed and unbypassed and kind of mixed together. So I'm going to let you hear what they sound like, level matched my chain versus Acustica, to actually go, know what, should I scrap my chain and go with one plugin for each one, and actually invest in Acustica Jade. So here is the big test. So what I do find amazing is the difference in the sound. Again, there are slight differences because I've had to use different frequency bands on the Acustica than some other plugins, but I've tried to still keep them as close as possible. So this is the Acustica.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I can be a superhero, deflecting all the things that they may say to you.
And then this is my chain.
I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I can be a superhero, deflecting all the things that they may say to you.
Level matching was an absolute pain in the backside as usual, but I do think in my chain what I've noticed is I've got a little bit more excitement in there. The guitars, there's a massive difference in the guitars. I could hear a bit of more low end sub. I do think the low end in the Jade isn't very good. Again, I don't think MAAG and Clariphonic were they really known for their low end. Again, the Focusrite Red, I don't really hear many people talking about the Focusrite Red, to be honest with you. So again, what I'll do is I'll do them backwards and forwards, in and out, as a little last test to kind of see the differences in each. Okay.
I can be your undercover. I can be whatever you do. I can be a superhero, deflecting all the things that they may say to you. I can be your undercover lover. I can be whatever gets you through. I can be a superhero, deflecting all the things that they say to you. I can be your undercover lover, whatever gets you through. I can be a superhero, deflecting all the things that they may say to you.
Am I going to invest in Acustica? Probably not. Not the Jade this time. There hasn't been a plugin yet that I've kind of tried out. They've been like, yes, this is going to replace my plugin chain. Especially not with the CPU. I would just throw my laptop against a brick wall if I had to use these plugins in a mix. So again, there is definitely a problem with the high end. I do think they sound a little bit muddy, and they're kind of missing character. It's a little bit stale. It's almost like there's not a lot of harmonics in it. And again, you've got the preamps in there, and I just feel it's missing something. The Acustica is just like, the only thing I think it shines on is the bass. Again, the snare's got this kind of darkness to it and a little bit muffled. And again, you can, as we heard, you can raise the 10k shelf, but again, it starts to then sound a little bit too fizzy, and it's trying to find that right balance. But then how are you meant to find the right balance if it keeps on crashing every time you try to change an EQ? So no, I think the Acustica Jade's not for me, but I think I really like the harmonics and the energy, again, the excitement that my chain gives me. So again, you got Butch Vig in there, and the good thing, you got to think about the Butch Vig, and right, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to say it now. Top end, this whole thing about, yeah, like the top end of the Jade is way superior to the MAAG. Is it really? I mean, I think it's a little bit cleaner, in all in all, but I wouldn't say that it's enough for a listener to go, oh, listen to that air in the mix. The two of them do a really good job, and I don't think there's anything in the high end of the Jade that makes me think that I should swap it. You know, I should get the Jade for the high end. The MAAG does a really good job, and again, I only had to boost it 2.5 dB, and again, we've seen how much more the boost in the air in the Jade. As always, you're having to crank that top end. And then think about this chain. Look at what else I've got. Look at the other stuff. So I've got the mid dip in here as well. I've got a high cut. I've got a low cut. I've got another compressor I could add. I've got a 1 and 2K focus if I need be. I've got tube and solid state saturation. More different things I can add in. And then what else? So again, VMR. So I've got Slate. So again, I'm not bothered with CPU usage. If I wanted to, I could add in some saturation from again, like Hollywood, London, New York, they're saturating preamps. I've got Revival. I've got so many different options here to make that better. And again, you got to remember is this is my chain as close as I could to what the Jade offers. So again, I add more and more different things. There's different kind of saturators and other kind of tools that I use that the Jade doesn't offer. So that there is my Acustica Jade versus the plugins that I kind of use already. Right, so let's leave it at that. What I'll do is I'll take you back in the studio and then we'll wrap up.
Right, okay, so what do we make of that? In terms of the sim quality, I wasn't blown over. Again, the bass was the thing. I quite liked the bass on it, and I was really surprised at how the vocals, how in one plugin I was basically able to get what it took me maybe 5-6 plugins to get. I didn't hear anything in the Jade that made me go, I'll buy that. In the bass I was thinking about it, I was like, yeah, it's got kind of good qualities in it. And then in the mix I was like, my chain works, like, I just don't get it. The compressor was nice. I'll give them their due. The compressor and the limiter were really, really good. And I really liked the way it kind of leveled everything out and still kept the dynamics. So there was elements of it that were great. You're giving me 3 EQ options, at least let me go low mids, highs, and let me, because as would have found the sound probably would have been a lot better. But I'm wasting the CPU usage, so probably the reason that they've not allowed that function is probably because if you had say a MAAG on the low end, Clariphonic in the low mids, and then say a Focusrite Red on the highs, it would just go. Probably your laptop would just probably melt in front of you. I am done. No more Acustica. Right? Self-destruct. It probably wouldn't work. So they have. They're good. They're good. Right? They're good sounding. So if you've stayed again and watched this very, very long video full of crashes and me getting frustrated, thank you very much. Again, I've tried things a little bit differently. I found this in my daughter's room. The annoying thing is I've got the camera flipped, so if you were to see it actually in real life, this is all backwards. So we had to redo everything, which was annoying. But I thought it was quite nice. So thanks again for watching, guys. Like and subscribe, the most important thing. So yes, this has been me, Paul Thorns, Mixing Wednesdays. And yes, we were looking at the Acustica Jade this week. So if you like this video, like, subscribe. And I'll see you again next Wednesday, okay? Cheers.